In this video, we're going to be covering how to register BobCAM for SolidWorks from inside of SolidWorks. So after we've installed the software, we then want to go up and open up our SolidWorks. Whichever version you're running, you're just going to double click on it and wait for it to launch. Now, as SolidWorks is launching from your initial after you've installed BobCAM, it's first going to pop up with the registration wizard. So this is where we're going to register the software. Now, there's 3 different ways to register the software, and the last one we're going to look at will be from the internet. That's the most common way. But first, let's look at how we would request a demo license. So with a demo license, you just click Request Demo License, and then you'll hit Next. Now, inside of here, you're going to fill out all your information. So your first name, last name, company, email, phone number, and especially the email because we need to send you a link to request this demo license. So after you've sent this information in, we're going to send you a BC license response file. And that should again download to your downloads folder just like your initial BobCAM installation file went. And so when we get that file, we'll go ahead and hit next. And then right here, we're just going to say open. Now, the easiest thing to do is take this license response file that shows up inside your downloads, copy it, and paste it onto your desktop. After you have it on your desktop, you'll just say open, you'll navigate to your desktop, and you're going to open the file. And that's going to give you a 30-day demo of BobCAM for SolidWorks. After that's done, or if you want to use a different method, let's go back until we get to the main page here. Now, the next option we'll look at is requesting manually via email. Now, this is primarily used for computers that do not have internet on them, so they're not directly connected to the internet. You will still need a computer that has internet on it. And what you'll do is you'll just hit next. You'll enter in your license ID and password, which we'll look at here in a second. And then you'll hit next again. And if it works, it's going to email you the response file that you're going to use to bring it in. So you're going to generate your license request file, and then eventually you're going to get an email back, and you're going to open that email response file right through here. The last one is request automatically via internet. And this is the easiest way to do it. And if all you need to do is connect your computer to the internet for 5 minutes, this will be the easiest way because it's just going to do it over the internet. So we go in, we say next. Now, when we get to this page, we're going to ask for a license ID and password. The license ID and password will be found on your invoice, which looks just like this little picture here. And the license IDs and passwords will all be found down on the bottom. And if you have more than one, it'll be a whole list of them. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and register mine. So I'm going to copy some numbers over from my screen and say, there's my license ID. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my password. Make sure you use capital letters when you're putting in your password, just to make sure it matches how it's written out on the license ID and password of the invoice. So I enter in my license ID and password, and then I hit next. Now, if everything works, we're just going to wait and see this sign that says online activation successful. We'll then hit OK. And then right here, it's going to show you your information for that license. So in my case, it says in-house V30. You should have your name there. You'll have your company name there, and then you'll have your license ID there. Now, from this page, write down what license ID you're using on this specific computer and then what customer ID you're using. Because this is how we know who you are, and this is how we know which license is on the computer. And if you have more than one license, the best thing to do is to mark down which license is on which computer, because if you ever have to call us because a computer goes down, you have to deactivate, we need to know exactly which license to cancel so that you can re-register it later on. So write these values down, keep them close, and then for your customer ID, you can use that for any time you call into tech support or sales. You just give them your customer ID and we know exactly who you are. When we're done, we just hit finish and we just wait for SolidWorks to continue loading. Now, after your first initial install of the software, you're going to get this notification that's telling you that BobCAD-CAM is now collecting anonymous usage statistics to better understand the features and functions that you guys are using to help improve future versions of the software. So you can disable this option just by going to settings and then general, and then there's an option for it that you could turn on and turn off as needed. Again, we're keeping this completely anonymous. All we really want to know with this information is what features are being used most often so we can focus on making those features better and better. So if you want to turn it off, you could do that through settings and then general. Otherwise, just leave it on and it lets us know what kind of features you're using. But again, we don't know that you specifically are using them. We just know that someone out there is using, say, a 3-axis advanced rough. That's the kind of information we're getting from this. So when we're done, we can hit OK. And then eventually SOLIDWORKS is going to load up and you're going to open up a file and start working on it. And that concludes the video on how to register BobCAM for SOLIDWORKS from inside of SOLIDWORKS.